Hey everybody, welcome back to Northernlion Plays the Binding of Isaac AFTERBIRTH Plus. Hey, it's good runs, except the last one kind of sucked, but GYPM DXHT, oh no. Any run in which it's exclusively alphabetical and not numerical is doomed to start pretty well. Apparently. I was gonna say it starts badly, you know. The letters I always thought controlled the Zane, and the numbers controlled the power. That's been the largely accepted heuristic for how to analyze for how to analyze an Isaac run. But I don't know, maybe that's changing. Maybe recently they patched it so there's more of a balance between the alphas and the numerics and the so on and the, oh my god. Sure. Well, there is a little Zane here, clearly. Wiggle Worm doesn't actually work with Jacob's Ladder to create zany looking patterns, but it just it gives off the appearance of being a little bit faster and looser, right? Jacob's Ladder, by the way, I don't want to, I have a bad habit that might actually be completely harmless of spending 1/3 of a run talking about the run that came before it, but if we're being honest, like, the last run was so bad, it's noteworthy. The fact that we have Jacob's Ladder means that the run that we have right now is already better than our run was on the last floor or the last run, I should say, until probably the Flooded Caves 1 at the end. And the floor took us like 17 minutes to do, so, you know, we went through a lot of ups and downs, mostly downs or treading water in like a terrible environment. Like some brackish backwash from a toxic waste plant. It's not toxic waste that comes from a plant. I'm talking about waste from a factory that makes toxic waste. So imagine how much of a waste the waste would have to be in order to be waste for a factory that produces. You get what I'm saying. You don't need me to go any further than that. It's okay. I'm just saying, Captain Planet would be upset. They're gonna make a Captain Planet movie, aren't they? I've recoiled in horror as my generation has gotten older, and then like the things that we liked as a kid are starting to be like remade for nostalgia mind movies, and I'm like, we don't need more Ninja Turtles. We don't need more Ninja Turtles. We don't need more Ninja Turtles. Use the money elsewhere. Help me, God. They were pretty cool in the 80s. Now it's 2018. Stop it, please. Who's directing the new one today? Please don't tell me it's Michael Bay. Please don't need no Ninja Turtle. We don't need more. Okay, I'm trying to get the whole audience behind me now. I'm not against the Ninja Turtles. I was just about to say as a kid, and that makes it sound insulting, but like, I haven't been into the Ninja Turtles mythos in a long time, but, you know, as a kid, I was a huge fan. Or as they say it now on Twitter these days, I was a huge stan. I loved the Ninja Turtles. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 4, Turtles in Time, the game, fantastic. First 3 movies, had them all on VHS, even the one where they go back to feudal Japan, which is just horrible. I've seen them all, many, many times. As an adult, don't need any. The ones from my childhood can stay back there. That's okay. I can go back and watch them, and I can get a certain sense of nostalgia, even when I watch it and I go, this is obviously horrible. The movies still exist. You don't need to. Oh, it's not bad. You don't need to take my nostalgia and try to repackage it and sell it to me again. I can already live with it. We already know it's gonna probably be bad. In a way, that's kind of why, like, I'm worried, not worried, but hesitant about video game remakes, because I'm like, some remakes are warranted, but I do think that if we get into this habit of saying, like, hey, this game was good, but it could really use, like, a remaster, where does that reasoning end? Because we're not at the pinnacle of technology, I hope. If you're watching this video through some kind of, like, I don't know, historical lens, and he was like, you know, the tour guide would now say, what he didn't realize is this was the peak of human society. 6 weeks later, a nuclear missile detonated over the Pacific. You know, you get the idea. Let's hope that that's not the case. Please. Good items. Good items. Ooh. probably gonna miss a deal with the devil because I'm bad, but that's, you know, next floor we got a real chance. Okay, there's something. We're gonna want to remake them again, right? Like we Shadow of the Colossus, but this time on PlayStation 7 graphics, and Dark Souls, but this time on, you know, Microsoft Xbox 4 graphics. Just feel like if it doesn't impact a game's playability, maybe it's not worth it. And I'm not cynical, by the way. Like, I understand that most of the things that it's different, I guess, because I'm kind of on the other side of the industry, I suppose. But dude, we are so lucky. Never mind. We're reasonably lucky. A lot of the things that people get mad about in the gaming industry, I don't get that mad about. And you're welcome to think that that makes me like someone who's not an ally of the consumers. But there are things that I think are sketchy. Like the Star Wars Battlefront stuff was just horrendous. I so rarely weigh in on that stuff, but for the Star Wars one, I was like, this is so bad, it warrants talking about. But a lot of stuff doesn't really rub me the wrong way, including remasters. I always find like what annoys me is that people are like, I hate video game remasters. I hate that the Nintendo Switch is getting exclusively ports of earlier Nintendo games, but then when a game they love gets remastered, they're like, I'm all in. Maybe that's not dishonest. Maybe it's actually extremely honest, but because I'm kind of the same way. I'm about to tell you the same thing. I normally do not find myself interested in HD remakes of games, but I'm super in for the Dark Souls remaster. Let's be honest, I don't know if we need doorstop. There's some things in Dark Souls that could use remastering. It's starting to show its wear, I should say. It's not really, this doesn't really get worn, but it's starting to show its age. I love Dark Souls. It's a masterpiece. An actual classic. And it's really hard, like, I have like a soft spot in my heart. It's hard to recreate the magic of like your first Souls game, right? So I'm excited to recreate it with exactly the same product, except being an HD remake, but hopefully. I'd love to see some quality of life changes in it as well. Once you get the Lord Vessel and you have the ability to teleport between bonfires, you're like, oh my god, this should be in the game from the start. Not everybody's going to agree with that assessment. It does give you a lesser appreciation of the world, in my opinion, but man, the quality of life is worth it, in my opinion. Anyway, this isn't Dark Souls Hour. This is, something altogether different. It's Isaac, in case you were curious. I finished Bloodborne earlier this week on the Sunday streams that we do, so I have Bloodborne and, as an extension, Souls on the brain a little bit, because I'm like, man, they really do just keep making almost exactly the same game over and over, and every time I finish it, I'm like, it's a masterpiece. Bloodborne more so, I think, than Dark Souls 3. When I finished Dark Souls 3, I was kind of like, I'm glad it's over. I know I never beat the Nameless King. I hope you'll accept that I beat the Orphan of Kos, or Kos, I should say. And the Orphan of Sign. And apparently that's considered, I don't want to, like, I should just go back and do the Nameless King, but, you know, I do want to point out, people in my chat were like, it's probably a harder boss than the Nameless King, so, you know, as far as I'm concerned, I might be, like, absolved of the Nameless King guilt, but I don't know, it's up to you guys if you want to let me off the hook for that. Maybe one day we'll complete the redemption arc there, I don't know. He's up there, though. But yeah, it's like, it was an extremely good game. I had a great time playing it. I'm actually, like, a little bit sad it's over. Because when you're, like, knee-deep in a Souls game, it's a wonderful experience. You're, like, questioning the lore. You're trying to figure, what happened in this town? Why is everybody a tentacle monster? And why are the chairs so big? And now, once you're out of it, you've left that magic bubble. It's like, it's not like when a movie you like ends. It's like when a book you're loving ends. Because you're like, it has to end at some point. But when it happens, you're like, I've spent so much time in this world, now it's gone. So when you walk away, Hidetaka Miyazaki, please. It doesn't really work. All right. So I don't want to be negative about this run just yet. It's so much better than our last run was at this point, but it still kind of sucks. We've gotten so many tiers, shot speed downgrades that our tiers don't travel very far at all. Like, we've very much negatively impacted our range as a result of, I don't know what one shot speed upgrade, Brain, are you all right? What one shot speed downgrade came from, but one of them definitely came from the blue cap. Just give me a second to think about this one, because like we got a pseudo game plan. Half a heart, full heart. I got an idea. I'm thinking, grab these, come in here, open this up. Okay, what do we get? Half a heart. I love it, because then fight this guy. We've already got an anemia pump in here. I mean, we're certain. If you look at this right now, you're like, we're not gonna die. Certainly, I should not have taken that damage. But we can afford to be very, oh my god, aggressive here. In the end, that was not even close to worth it. I'd like brainwashed myself into thinking that that was a good idea. But hey, we got an Eternal Heart out of it, so maybe it's worth it in the end. Perhaps. We're gonna re-roll it anyway once we get the chance, which is right now. I don't know. Mini Mush, you know, you're gonna say, NL, you were just complaining about range. But as with many things in Isaac, Mini Mush kind of lies to you. It's not really a range upgrade. Ooh, a little dicey. It does improve your range, but it's not a range upgrade. It's a shot height upgrade, which in a lot of situations is somewhat different. Like if we get Brimstone, or like a Zazel Brimstone, for example, it's actually a range downgrade. Now for us, it might be worth it, and to be fair, our speed, I mean, we've already re-rolled it, so obviously we're not taking it, but our speed is relatively bad, so it wouldn't have been the worst call. Oh, but Contagion, substantially better. No debate here, in my opinion. It's an actually great item. Should have shot. I was going for a Cuba meat kill. Very foolish decision on my part. There we go. Now I gotta point out, just a god-awful time for Greed to show up. We have so much money. But did he lead me to a second secret room? He did. A bunch of red hearts. That's actually nice. We're not gonna use IV bag, obviously, but I'm happy with this nonetheless. Although, I will admit, I'm kinda looking at this and I'm going, maybe IV bag, well, wait a minute. We've re-rolled IV bag, haven't we? Head's not in the game right now. IV bag wouldn't be the worst idea. Ooh. How's our range with Monstros Lung? Not great. And, oh, Jacob's Ladder is still working. Thank God. So I'm gonna donate, look for a luck upgrade, look for an angel deal. All right, we're gonna look for that to jam and give us a guilt-free excuse to spend, spend, spend as we get further on in the run today. I really wanted to deal with the angel chance, but so be it. We're gonna be just in time to get a charge and to listen to me whine. You know how another reason I hate my generation? We're straddling that line between, like, Generation X and the meme generation. I don't actually hate my generation, by the way. It's just, you know, like everybody was born in the wrong generation. I wish my classmates listened to music like this. Let me in, please. We did get Judas' Shadow to work, which is nice, but I want to go back and get those red chests, please. Oh, no. You know, there's that meme going around right now, which is like, it's a dude sitting at a table, and the sign says, like, opinion, prove me wrong. So it'll be like, you know, hot dogs are not a sandwich, prove me wrong. And people use it as, like, a meme. They'll put, like, you know, Hank Hill's face. And it would say, propane is the best gas, petroleum product, prove me wrong. That's not really a great Hank Hill impression, but it's the thought that counts, I hope. Dale! It's not very good. But I wasn't part of the original cast, because I was like 5 when it started airing, so cut me some slack. Did watch a lot of it, though. Anyway, somebody made one that said, it did the classic meme thing where they make a good meme and it says, OMFG, I hate myself, why am I like this? And then they post it and it's really good. No, we don't want that. And it was the lead singer of Green Day, Billie Joe Armstrong. And the post said, do you have the time to listen to me whine? It was a reference to the classic Green Day song Basket Case. You're saying, NL, you reference that song all the time. What's the problem? The problem, Mom, and I don't expect you to understand, is that the picture they used was not Dookie era Billie Joe Armstrong. It was American Idiot era Billie Joe Armstrong, which is a completely different arc of the Green Day saga. When they got started, when they made, you know, Basket Case, which is not their first album. First you got Kerplunk, obviously. But, like, what I'm getting at is that... It was Kerplunk? I can't remember. Anyway, the point is it doesn't matter, because it's all satirical to begin with. But, like... Hey, hey, hey! Give me a demon heart. I earned it by getting hit. If you're gonna make the meme, you can't just Google Green Day picture. You know, you gotta use a period appropriate picture, otherwise it doesn't make any sense. Because Billie Joe Armstrong, circa American Idiot, is not gonna ask you if he has the time to listen to you whine. He's gonna ask you what your thoughts are on the current president of the United States, George W. Bush. Okay? So you're completely like, you just undermine your meme completely when you make a stupid mistake like that, okay? It just makes me so mad. Finally, we got a demon heart. We're playing like actual trash. Let's make... Oh! I love it. Monstro's Lung, Ipecac, Jacob's Ladder. Well, the Zane factor is high. Oh, I love it. So in case you're not clear... By the way, why does this ruin Jacob's Ladder? Come on. In case you're not clear, I am being sarcastic. I mean, I did. That was the first thing I noticed when I looked at the meme. Was like, hey, you know, that's the wrong Billie Joe Armstrong. But I'm mostly playing it up for satirical factor. I'm just saying, though, it comes across like a dishonest meme. It's like one of your friends. Well, let's be honest with my age group. It's like one of your friends' dads telling you a joke that, like, Chris Rock made. You know, it just doesn't come out the same. Comes across as mildly disingenuous. So we have unlimited money. So we should definitely, like... I don't worry so much about the pills. We should buy spacebar items that are half price, so that we can reroll them. This is amazing. You're a spacebar item. You're a spacebar item. Ah, that wasn't very smart. We have golden bombs and Ipecac shots, so it doesn't really matter what we do. We should have bought that. Okay, okay. 2 champagne tickets. Oh, you blew up. Okay, so I'm gonna re-roll you, even though you're kind of a fun item. And grab this. High Priestess, Magician, High Priestess. Honestly, the Magician seems really good for boss rush, which we're kind of angling towards right now. Because our damage is just disgusting. Wow, Pageant Boy. Better be a luck upgrade, because otherwise it's like the worst item. Only because our money doesn't do anything for us. The donation machine is already broken and everything's free. So, money equals power is like the only realistic use of it. So I'm going to rush a little bit here because we are on Necropolis 2. So we want anything that gives us spiders and flies right now, because the damage from those is going to be ridiculous. Yeah, just shoot a bomb right in your own face. That seems like a very smart idea. It's alright. We got enough HP to last here. We're actually only one item from away from becoming Guppy. And for some reason, we must have killed one of the enemies. Like, we must have killed them in different order. Like, maybe the small one died second, so we got a chance at an item instead of just getting a guaranteed left hand. Weird. It's the kind of thing that can happen when you shoot out, I don't know, 50 times like 20. You shoot out like 1,000 damage at once, every shot. Enemies can go down in weird orders. I would hazard a guess and say, you know, Death's List, probably not the kind of item that would we would expect to provide us with much value. Not worth it. Please. These are like the worst enemies to fight. That's why I just left that small room. And that's why I liked Doorstop, actually, because I could just leave it whenever I wanted and actually hear it. Fits appropriately as well. This is a cool run. This run got cool. There's an item room back here. I don't know if you've ever considered that these might be interesting to go to. Look, it's not good, but we're kind of coming close to the point where I'm like, if I want to do boss rush, we pretty much got to do it right now. Quickly hope for... Oh, dude, Algiz is fine. But I'm looking for an AWAS. Let's actually go. 3 AWASes. Okay, so we don't need 3. But getting any is good because it means that we can just dip out of that boss rush ASAP. Although, fighting the bosses is probably also pretty easy. Let's see what the item is. Maybe it'll change my opinion. Prove me wrong. Krampus's head is a bad item. Prove me wrong. There's a lot of good stuff here. I'm gonna take Sagittarius for the speed upgrade. I don't actually know if it's good to have piercing shots with this weird synergy we got going on here. Okay, after fighting like 2 enemies, I think we should just go all the way. It looks like pretty much any boss is gonna die from 1 or 2 hits. Yeah, this is a fun one. I always like an Isaac run where you're like settled enough at the start of it to know that you're fine to fight Hush and find a... You know, if you want to go to Delirium, you've got a very good chance to. We haven't fought Delirium in a while, but... perhaps that day will return. We're also gonna have an AWAS we can use to try to find like a black market in the future. Unlikely, but possible. You never know. You never know. I can't get my own. It's a very bizarre feeling. You've probably had it happen. You ever have something that you created that you can't get out of your head? That's what I got right now. It's, we don't need more Ninja Turtles. I don't know, man. I'm not cynical about movies. I'm actually like pretty optimistic about movies. Even though I talked about it in the last episode, or 2 episodes ago. I really, in theaters, I only see stuff that I already know I'm almost certain to like. I have no problem with that, by the way. I'm sure some people like wax poetic about, oh, now that, you know, Rotten Tomatoes exists and a lot of studios just make safe stuff, you know, people don't go to the theaters on a gamble anymore. I think that's good. You ever wonder what life must have been like in like the 1940s? Hello? It's gotta be, yeah, I was just gonna say polycephalus. Like in the 1940s, which I have I should have just taken it probably. Which obviously I have a lot of experience with. I lived through it twice, in fact, so I'm talking from experience here, not from ignorance as you might expect. What did you do if you wanted to like buy a car? You would just go to the dealership and be like, hey, is this car good? And they'd be like, honestly, it's kind of a conflict of interest, but you know it, bud. It's a 10 out of 10 Buick Studebaker. Endorsed by none other than Dwight Ike Eisenhower himself. The president? No, it's the 1940s. He's just a general. Or an admiral, I can't remember. Anyway, the point is, you had to like just trust people. That's why it's so weird to me. I don't know, people, there are probably still people like this, but when my parents bought appliances, like, not the last time they bought appliances, it doesn't happen that often, but definitely when I was like 14, they were like, we need a new fridge and a new stove. They went to Sears and asked Sears, the company selling them the fridge and stove. And we're like, hey, what's a good fridge and stove? It's mind-blowing to think back on. You can't trust them. It's a conflict of interest. I'm not trying to denigrate salesmen and saleswomen the world over, by the way. I think I read something. They have a reputation for being shady. Anybody who sells anything, you know, they have a reputation for being a little shady, or at least like, you know, there's manipulative ways you can like do high pressure sales techniques and stuff like that. Which is why whenever I experience that sort of stuff, I tend to just like walk out of the store. But I saw someone, and it was on Reddit if you're asking, they said like, you know, the role of a salesman in the modern world is not really to sell like the most expensive product, but to set the customer up with the product that best fits their needs without putting a lot of pressure on them, except when you know that the product is what they need, but they feel like a hesitancy. Like, you know, if you need new shoes, you walk into the store and you got like shopping bags on your feet and you can afford them. The salesman would be like, this guy really needs some new shoes. These are the ones that, they, you know, they got good value, good comfort, and when you get cold feet, so to speak, they kind of like push you into it a little bit. They make you an offer you can't refuse, so to speak. I like the idea of that. But like, the internet being around and there's probably like fridge reviews monthly, you know? It's nice that if I wanted to buy a new fridge, I ain't going to Sears. First off, because in Canada, they went out of business. But secondarily, Secondarily, I would just check that out, and then I'd be like, okay, now that I know what the best fridge is for my specific situation, where do I buy this fridge at the best price with like the best warranty? And the internet, you just type that into Google, and it would be like, you know, blah, blah, blah. FW Black or something like that. You'd be like, okay, I'm going to buy it from FW Black. It's easy, man. So I guess that's why like word of mouth was so important in the olden days, you know? Is that why human beings are so primed to like give recommendations? Because they're like, you know, in the ancient era of when our parents were born, word of mouth was like the only thing separating you from, or separating you purchasing like an all-time great car from like an actual piece of garbage. And that's why like, I don't hold the opinion that advertising does not work on me. I've heard people say that with a straight face sometimes, and I'm like, I don't think so. But if you were an advertiser, I bet your job was a lot easier before like the internet existed. Depending on what you're advertising. If you're advertising modems, it's gonna be a tough sell. But you know, when I watch car commercials now, I do not understand. I genuinely don't. If you work in the industry, I don't think you're gonna be able to explain it to me, because I think I'm just gonna remain skeptical, which is my own personal problem. But like, when I watch like a Mazda commercial, it doesn't make me want to buy a Mazda. What I do is I end up critiquing the commercial, and I go, oh, cool commercial. And not really a cool commercial. And then, when it comes time to buy a vehicle, I go, best, you know, mid-range, compact sedan, 2018. Or I just go to whatever dealership is... I mean, I've only bought a car once in my life. I go to whatever dealership is close, and I go, hey, I'm going to take this one. Monster manual. Oh, great. Great item. Yeah, give me a 6 Lamborghini Mustangs, please. Hashi. A sack of pennies. Amazing. Incredible items so far. Bomb bag. Well worth the price of doing business. The Bible. And Spider Mod. Well, Spider Mod's pretty okay. PhD is fine. We should have there was no reason whatsoever to use I'm drowsy in the shop. We should have saved that for Hush, but life goes on. I get that people always, they took like one lecture on advertising and they watched 6 episodes of Mad Men and then they go, well, you don't understand, it's not so much about trying to sell you a Mazda 3, it's more about brand awareness. I know this because I read it in my like intro to marketing textbook, so I'm pretty much an expert. I took a marketing class in university too, okay? You know what I learned? Not very much. It didn't show up as often as I should. It was an elective during the recession when they had pulled funding from a lot of courses I actually wanted to take, but to get my degree I needed to get some soft skills. All the biology courses had already been taken. It was not really fair, and in hindsight, I'm a little bitter about it. But that being said, I'm just saying, there's no such thing as stupid questions. Obviously, we all know there's actually such a thing as stupid questions. Like when my classmate, who was like 35 years old, in night class, asked our professor if he could use the bathroom. I said to myself, that's a stupid question, you're an adult. Go pee. Please, like I wanted to play it back in my head. He's just being polite, by the way. It's sweet that he asked the professor if he could go to the bathroom. I would have loved to have seen what happened, though, if the professor had said no. I would hope that he would have the spine and the backbone to go to the bathroom. And be like, you know what? You're not really like in a position of authority. I'm an adult, I pay for this class. My bladder's gonna explode, I'm going to the bathroom. If he sat back down, the professor owns you forever. At that point. Yeah, if you're still in high school, man, you might not realize. In college, if you go to college, if you choose to pursue that avenue for your life, you can just go to the bathroom. Crazy, right? You don't have to ask anybody. To be fair, in high school, you wouldn't have to ask anybody. If someone in an earlier class, probably an earlier graduating class, hadn't ruined it for you. Anytime, you know, there's a situation in which there's a rule that seems stupid, there's probably, well, for most rules, there's like one thing that happened that justifies its existence. Like at our school when I was extremely young, you know, they banned Pogs. And then later they banned Crazy Bones, which were like plastic little, you know, things you used to play playground games before every kid had a smartphone. That's not fair. They might still be playing with other stuff. Not that Pogs were like that intellectually stimulating compared to like, you know, Gorogoa or something like that. But you get the idea. It's old man bitterness. You know why they banned it? 90% of the kids were like, that's stupid. There's one mom out there who's like, my kid lost all his Pogs and came home crying. So he's got to ruin it for everybody. The bathroom one, I don't even want to know. 6 kids go to the bathroom. You can fill in the blanks from there depending on your preconceived notions. There's a couple of rules I never really got, even though I followed. Not being able to wear hats in school. I wasn't a hat wearer until I went bald. And I want to point out for the 800th time, I don't wear a hat now that I'm bald to cover up the fact that I'm bald. I wear a hat when I'm bald because my head gets cold. Doesn't have a bunch of hair on top of it. That's the reason, well, it's a predominant reason for a lot of hat-wearing baldies like myself. It's not about the image so much as it's about the, you know, physical comfort. And a cold head, you might think you've had a head that is cold. You haven't, unless you're bald. The kind of coldness you get on your head when you have no hair on top of it, it makes you realize why, like, people were all about fur in the 1700s. You're like, this actually helps out a great deal. Anyway, what was I talking about? Oh yeah, as a teenager I didn't wear a hat. But I was always like, why can't they wear a hat? Is it so like you can't see their eyes and know if they're paying attention to the screen? And by the screen, I mean the teacher. I haven't been in a high school classroom in a long time. Don't you just go to Udemy now? Udemy 12th grade math? Udemy now, dog. Dude, we might actually die. Mostly because we chose to fight Hush, which was very dumb. Well, I know we got Guppy's hair, but let's see how it goes. Lovely start. Mostly because we've taken bad damage by not dodging as well, is a pretty big part of it. Anyway. And I guess no chewing gum. Now that I've thought about it for more than like a quarter of a second, I totally get it. Why don't you let your students chew gum? It's not because you're worried about them getting distracted. Why did I take Eve's mascara of all items? It's because you're worried that the gum is going to lead to littering. That makes perfect sense to me. Reroll these. Oh, God. PhD, please work with me. I think we're going to take all the passives, and then we're going to get the heck out of here. Because I think I will die if I don't get HP, so we're going to try. We're going to shoot for the moon here. I think that's spun. And HP. It's not spun, but it is HP. We can't afford to take the parasite. I know you're like, it's not zany. No, you know what's not zany? Deliberately... Deliberately taking an item that would have killed us. It still definitely would have killed us, by the way. But anyway, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed the episode. That was hubris. It was a fun run, though. Shouldn't have fought Hush. For now, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, click the like button. Helps a great deal. Of course, subscribe if you want to see more in the future. For now, thanks for watching, and I will see you next time.